Okay, so according to this post, Trump is increasingly relying on a small group of advisors for critical input as he weighs whether to order U.S. military strikes against nuclear facilities inside Iran. According to two defense officials and a senior administration official who spoke with NBC News. In addition, another senior administration official said Trump has been crowdsourcing with an array of allies outside the White House and in his administration about whether they think he should greenlight strikes on Iran. However, despite making several speaking with several outsiders, President Trump continues to make decisions with only a small handful of officials within the White House. Obviously, you want to keep this information extremely close to your chest. I mean, I just finished watching the Osama bin Laden documentary, and when President Obama was looking to make the decision whether to go after Osama bin Laden, he didn't know because he said this is a very risky operation. We don't know if he's actually there. We think he's there, but we don't know. It's a fascinating documentary on Netflix. I highly recommend it. Anyways, President not President Biden, President, why did I blank on his name? President Barack Obama said, "Hey, this information that you guys just shared with me is just between us three. Nobody else knows about this information." So I imagine Trump is learning things about Iran, very specific things that are up in the air. Like, hey, Iran's like a few days. Like the last we heard is a few weeks from putting together a nuclear missile. But now Trump is not. So we heard a few weeks, but Trump may have different intel, whether that's longer or shorter, or whether he knows where they are or doesn't know where they are. I'm sure Trump, just like how Barack Obama did with the Osama bin Laden operation. Obviously, they're different levels and different situations. So I'm not trying to say they're the same magnitude, but it sounds like when the president learns something, he wants as few of people to know as possible, which is very smart from a strategical standpoint. Okay, so let's continue to dive into this. So within the White House, including Vance, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, and as well as Marco Rubio. So it doesn't say the Department of Defense is in there, which I bet he is, but it doesn't say he's in there. All while sidelining several other senior officials and advisors, such as National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard, who opposes U.S. strikes against Iran, and so he is excluding his Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. I don't know if this has anything to do with like the signal messages that got leaked. Who knows if he just can rely on Pete Hegseth's operational security? I mean, hopefully he can, the Department of Defense. Hopefully that there's no issues there. But either way, it looks like Trump still has not made a decision. We heard 2 weeks that Trump said. We heard today that Trump said he has 2 weeks. But I mean, from an operational security standpoint, you're not going to tell the press, yes, we're going to strike in 48 hours. Like that's just not. If I, as a citizen, if the United States were to conduct an operation, not saying I'm for or against it, but if they were, I don't think the president of the United States should be like, yep, we're striking in 48 hours and completely give our hand away. So Trump's probably wise for saying 2 weeks because he's not giving up his timelines, which you wouldn't want to do in an operational security standpoint. So that's kind of my take on what's happening. Sounds like Trump's keeping his cards close to his chest. He's speaking with very few people, even excluding Department of Defense of senior official Pete Hegseth, which is interesting. There could be many reasons for that. I don't know if it's because Pete Hegseth has had questionable operational security in the past. I don't know. But I imagine the more comfortable Trump feels in his decision, the more he'll let people in on it. But I imagine he's getting takes from different people. I was reading that Trump was getting different takes from allies, like, "Hey, what do you guys think we should do? How would this impact you?" And so he's getting takes from different people because striking Iran or not striking Iran has different consequences. I definitely do not envy being President Trump right now. It's a very difficult decision to make. You're putting a lot of people in harm's way by striking, but you're also potentially putting a lot of people not in harm's way by not striking. If you strike too soon, it could be an issue because I know Iran has threatened. Of course, Iran would threaten this, that if the United States strikes, that they're definitely going to launch a nuclear missile. But honestly, it's all in the fog of war. It's super difficult to get the truth, and there's so much propaganda going on and so much posturing going on. But Trump has a very difficult decision to make because if he waits too long to strike and they have their hands on a nuclear missile, okay, now it's too late. Now Iran has the upper hand. So, like I said, I definitely do not envy being in Trump's situation right now. But that's kind of my take with what's going on, with what we've learned today, with the press, with the White House briefing, with what we kind of learned from this NBC report, with what's going on in the Middle East with Donald Trump. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing.